what it is that I want to say. Not having to fit into anyone else's box. Not having to fit into anyone else's box. Not having to fit into anyone else's box. The education of what I knew and I understood as being Black in America. Our history started with slavery, and from my understanding and my education at that point, we had nothing prior to that. Seeing them on screen and saying, oh wow, you can be openly gay, a professional, have friends, be in a relationship, and be happy, and when be happy, see yourself, and be happy, you see who you are represented in front of you, you get validation, and you believe all the things that you want and all the things that you want to do can happen because you see it. All of the cards have been stacked against us. All of the systems have been created not to help us prosper. But with all of that, we are still here, we are still living, we're still thriving. Taking it back to the Harlem Renaissance, you know, in the 1920s, and now we are in the 2020s. And it's the centennial of the Harlem Renaissance, essentially, and I think things always cycle back. It's one of those things where we all know it to be true, and we all know that it's there, but once it's spoken out into the ether and once it's visible, it sort of rattles you a little bit, it sort of shakes you, and it just sort of affirms all those thoughts that you know already to be true. The sheer resilience of my people, the sheer resilience of my people, the sheer resilience of my people, the sheer artists and people who had to overcome so much adversity to just create so much beauty and art and just in life in general is just so incredibly inspiring. Being a Black creative, during this time of this sort of Black Renaissance, this resurgence, and from a very early age, I had a very extreme realization of my otherness, and that I was different from everyone else that was around me. And very early on, I came to realize that my otherness, my Blackness sort of separated me from the pack. Really trying to understand after all this time how we got here and how we are still here. I myself had to do a lot of unlearning and relearning. So I just went into research. I wanted to discover more about myself and more about who I was, not just as a Black male, but as a Black queer male, and what that meant and who were those figures in our history. Because for me, learning about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks back in elementary school, that was great, but I knew something deep inside of me, like, this can't be it. It can't just start at slavery. Our history cannot just start at slavery and end by being a starving child in Africa. Right? There had to be more to the story. There had to be more. There had to be more to the story. There had to be more. There had to be more to the story. So I